All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a very, very special edition of 401 Connect Beyond today. We are joined by Aubrey and Paul from Bottega Yoga. And we are really excited to have you guys on board. Now, we originally, had gotten our guest in line here today. Aubrey had, recommended we do a little fun husband and wife team event here because, of course, Danielle and I are obviously business owners, and we work together, and we kind of split it down the middle in terms of what we like to do and what we don't like to do. And you guys apparently do the same as well. So we thought it'd be a fun way to do our co-interview series with the four of us, and get some more manpower in here. Paul, thanks a lot. And he's also rocking this unbelievable sweater that he picked
Thank
out
you.
today.
I
So
dressed him. Don't let him take the credit.
no, he told
Oh.
no, that's not what he told us during the preliminaries.
I bought this one myself.
They did like a big boy.
It
Like
is.
a big boy.
Well, I picked it out, but you approved it.
Yeah.
So
So
And that's our business model.
yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
So yeah, let's start there because we always talk about how we pretty much fit like a glove in terms of we designed our business model years and years and years ago. We wrote out what our strengths were, what our weaknesses were, and what we wanted to kind of complement. And we said, okay, well, I'm going to take this part, and you're going to take this part. And I think there was an interesting conversations that were had at one point, and being like what we want to do and what we don't want to do, and how it's really, like I said, for the most part, kind of split right down the middle. I know I'm more the face of the program and whatnot, and Danielle is more the one pulling the strings behind the curtain. Aubrey, Paul, talked a little bit about how that works for you guys. What's your dynamic?
I would say I think ours started from like parenting, like seeing how we parented and the roles we took in parenting. And we always had a pretty good level with that, like who had what job in that and who did this. And then I feel like, which obviously were naturally our strengths and our challenges.
Mhm.
And then I feel like I don't think we really had a sit down talk about like the business, who's going to run what. I think kind of in our heads after being together for so long, it was like there's certain things I'm never going to do, right? Like that are just
He knows, right?
But I feel like that's a strength, right? To know that that's not
Right.
your strength.
Yep.
So you don't come in and try to plow the other person, or like they try to. So, it's kind of how we roll in life. I would say like how we roll in parenting, how we roll in community. So it's kind of an easy transition, I guess. And what roles,
So did you guys have children together? And before we go any further, how many children do you have?
3.
Three. Okay, so do we. So we're right on point there. Did you start your business before children or after?
No.
Oh, no way.
After.
Way after. Way after.
Okay, so that makes
We're like, let's wait till our kids are in college and we're almost broke to start a business. That's our business model.
and it's the pinnacle of COVID.
And it was the pinnacle of COVID. Yes. We were like, oh, the stars are aligned perfect.
Best time to start. Yeah. Why not? If you can survive COVID, you can survive anything at this point. If you're a business that got through that.
Yeah, we talk about that often. And I know like there are times where you will get more nervous about certain things, but we think back to those times and like, how uncertain things were at that point, and what we're going to do. And, looking back, right, how much it accelerated certain aspects of our business to where they are now, and how it was a benefit now when we had them on the back burner, but there was no like absolute, push to need it at that point based on what was going on. And we can talk all about that, because I think that will probably be a funny talk about, and how you guys navigated COVID as a family, as a business, and I'm curious to hear about
especially businesses like ours, because they're personal businesses. It's hard to take what we do and can it be virtual? Yes, but generally the base of it is to be with people. So it's a tricky transition.
So I think that the whole lesson here is that for those possible people out there who want to start their own business, there's no right or wrong way to go about it, right? So this is a perfect example of you guys did it the 180-degree way that we did it, and vice versa. So there's no wrong way or right way per se. It's what works best for you. And that's something we tell our clients every single day in terms of making a habit forming change with what we do. There's no wrong to it. It's what you're willing to do, and does it align with the goals that you have. So you guys, you have kids, they're going to college, you're almost broke, it's COVID. Who says, let's start a yoga studio? Okay.
I've been saying it for years, forever. So let's really rewind.
Gotcha.
So when we met, so I have to be careful how I tell the story, because I've told the story and say we met at a rehab, and people think we met like detoxing, like fell in love. We did
I always
detox.
tell people that
Oh.
Danielle met me at a strip club and I was
Which
a
is
stripper,
not
and it's
true.
not the
Which
truth.
is-
That's true. Well,
No.
we did meet at a rehab,
Okay.
but we worked there.
Right.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I've told that story so
Gotta
many
write
times.
it
One
down,
lady
yeah.
says to me one day, she's like, well, I know you had problems when you were younger. I'm like, well, yeah. What are you talking about? She's like, well, I know you're in rehab. I'm like, no. What are you talking about? She's like, you told me you met your husband in rehab. I'm like, oh no. I was like, we worked there. So we
You can
met.
assume though why people would think that.
Right. And I was like, I need to like edit how I tell this story, obviously.
Well, who doesn't
Although-
have problems as kids, right?
Yes. So we worked there, and I was his boss at the rehab. So we ended up for teenagers. So we worked there together for quite a while. And then he left to go do something totally different, to go work for like water company. And I stayed home with the kids after a while. So after we had a couple, it was like, what's the point of paying for daycare? It was like, I'm gonna be handing my check over.
Oh, that's a whole nother
So
ballgame.
for like 10 years. And it was a lot.
I remember, I'm 14 years older than my sister. So I remember when I was in high school, I remember my parents having that conversation about daycare and just the difference, for what my mom was doing and what, she would make weekly in terms of what you have to pay out to daycare. It almost is like just throw your hands up and you're almost probably better off doing exactly like you did. And I'm sure you don't regret it in terms of the time you got to spend with them. And
No, I mean, it sucked a lot of the time.
Trust me.
The thing I loved about him is he always understood that it was a sacrifice for me, because I've always been a hustler. Like I've been hustling since I was 14 years old in a job doing something. So for me to step back and like, for me, and then when I left, he took over my job. So that was like the double-edged sword, I was like,
wait a minute.
So I was like, I remember you leaving, I was like crying. I was like, I want to go to work, so he always knew it was a sacrifice for me to stay home. So he never did the like, well, you stay home. Like, you didn't even think about it. He didn't even dare. Because I was like, so I feel like he honored and he understood that staying home was a choice we made together and that it was a sacrifice. It wasn't like this. And I feel honored that I got to do it, because I have a lot of friends who didn't have the ability to do it. But as far as like a working woman, as far as who always, was always moving and hustling, it was a sacrifice and it was hard. It was hard to stay still and just be present for those years.
Yeah.
But
when you said, let's do this, he's like, well, she sacrificed all those years. She's going to get her wish.
Oh, you mean I used it as leverage? Absolutely.
Yes and no.
I was trying to say it in a very nice way.
Right.
Well, no,
And
I was
kind of like, hey, how you doing today? And I found a place. It's great. I know we've been talking about opening a studio for a while. I want you to come look at it. And oh, by the way, I signed a lease.
Yeah, just kind of
Oh.
I don't care if you like it or not. We're already doing
You
it.
would
But
kick my ass.
Well, that was true though. I would say to him, like, you spent all those years working on your career, right? Well, I stayed home and I know everyone's like, it's the hardest job in the world. Yeah, well, when you put a resume together, they're like, what have you done for the last 10 years?
Yeah.
So that was hard for me to go from like being like a boss to being like, I haven't done anything for 10 years. So we would talk very openly about that. And I'd be like, you have to understand the time I spent home with the kids. I lost a lot of years to build a resume and to build a career. So I'm coming in kind of under the gun. And I think he was always like on board with that. Like he got that. And I did go back. I started working in mental health, which I've always done, working with like, kids, with behavior issues, which is my heart. Like that's my heart. That's my soul. That's what I've always done. But what happened was when COVID came and I stepped away from the job, I did start to feel like my soul rebuilding again, being with my kids, realizing how much unhappy I was of coming home and snapping at my kids and not having anything left. Because it's a very draining job. As amazing, as beautiful and as it is, I've been doing it like my whole life. And I literally looked at him one day and I was like, I'm not going back to that job. I go, I don't care if I have to stack shelves in the back of Marshall's. I said, I am not going back to that job. And that's kind of where.
And I think you're still technically in mental health, right? I mean, yoga is a very.
And I want to bring it. This is like the base, but my big picture is to go into like group homes and schools and detention centers. I actually I was having a class come from the local school in Narragansett with the boys' school and working with them. And I love it. Like that is my jam. Like that is where I want to be. Like I want to be with teenagers, behaviors. So that's actually my big picture for what I do.
That's
I
a
love
great,
that.
perfect balance, and yeah, to be able to kind of do the both, and then especially being able to have a facility where you can do that. It's one thing to be able to travel all over the place and do that, but for people to say, "Hey, we have a place to go to, and we have an experience there," I think that's really, really important. And I'll put it out there, like if anybody knows anything for you guys to be able to work on that, like this is a great opportunity to reach out to Aubrey and Paul and see if it's something that you want to set up, if it's something that you want to do. So
And I love this too because, and this is kind of off topic a little bit, but yoga, I feel like so many people think it's like just glorified stretching. I think that's what a lot of people have in their mind, that that's what it is. And it's so much more than that, and working with those type of people and those students, it can bring so much more, to their lives than just.
Well, I think a lot of people get into it for that, either for stretching or for working out, and that's fine. Like whatever gets their foot in the door. I mean, for me, that's I was a gym rat. I went to the gym. If when I had kids, I'd like go out and like go walking. I was always a mover, always a shaker, and actually hated my first yoga class. I'm not gonna lie. So when you have little kids, it's like you get out of the house for this amount of time, and it's like you better use it wisely.
Yep.
So I went to just I don't even remember what style it was back then, a very traditional yoga class at the gym that I went to. And I took it and it was very like slow which is amazing. I'm not judging it, but in that point in my life, that's not what I needed. I went and I remember I walked out, I was like, oh crap, now I gotta go work out. Right. Like now I gotta go work out. So I didn't do yoga for a while after that. And then my friend invited me to the style that I teach now, which is like the heated vinyasa. And I went and it was like a workout and the breathing. And I literally came home and I looked at him like, I found it. The first day it came, I go, I found it. And he was like, really? I was like, and I think I've done it ever since.
That's awesome.
Ever since the day I took it. I'm like, because it blended together the physical. Because I always say the style we teach it's good for people who do like to work out. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, my leg fell asleep in yoga. I'm like, your leg's not falling asleep in this yoga.
Yeah.
So like, it's going to. But yeah, I came home, I looked at him, I'll never forget it. I just fell in love with it. And I was like, this is my thing.
That's awesome.
So tell us, or tell the audience really a little bit more about your style there at the studio and kind of who you're catering to, what you do. You mentioned some different things there. So people who might be interested, really getting an understanding of the difference. Now, I know talking to a lot of people who are thinking about yoga or going into yoga, they're overwhelmed because there's so many different things. And there's a lot of programs out there where they kind of just mold a couple things together and say, hey, we're going to offer a yoga Pilates, and we're going to combine both yoga and Pilates together and hope it sticks, and 15 people are going to come every single day and do it. So I think it's important, and I always tell people this when it comes to any sort of creation of a habit. You've got to give it more than once. Obviously, you got to build on up to really get a good understanding of what it is, but you also got to know what you're going for, because there are different types out there, and they're going to be suiting each individual's need. Would love to know a little bit more about that for the audience, and also at the same time, what I know you found what you liked, but what is the benefit for you as a teacher to, and what do you bring, or what can you bring to those individuals' lives, and how that can change their lives, and I think that's important.
Well, first off, I always laugh because people say yoga changed my life, and I'm like, not really. Like, I'm like, if your mother-in-law is annoying, she's still going to be annoying, no matter how long you stand on your head. If your job sucks, your job's still going to suck no matter how much yoga you do. I do think it can shift your ability to see the world differently and to handle things differently, and maybe get the courage to change things, shift things in your life. But it's not like you're going to come into yoga and your whole life's just going to change.
No, and you're absolutely right. Most people have that view because they see an individual who said that, like, hey, yoga's changed my life, and now I'm breathing so heavy each and every time. I have no stress in my life. I've lost 14 pounds. My relationship with my husband is so much better. And again, you're exactly hitting it right on the head. It's creating a habit so that you're more aware of what these things are. Maybe you do have less stress because now you're making more time for yourself. And if anything, anybody watching this, what this does mean is that it's important to make time for you. So whether it's this avenue of going yoga, or doing workouts, or drinking more water every single morning, the list goes on and on and on about what it could be to help an individual make a change. But it's really about investing the time into you. I just wanted to make that point because I think a lot of people will just look at it as, like you said, it's not going to change your life unless it becomes a habit, unless it makes it's something that works best for you, and it's enjoyable for you.
Right. So, and the proof's in the pudding, because he's kicked me out of the house many a time to go do yoga.
Many times.
He'd be like,
many times.
You need to leave and go do yoga. You're a much better human. Yes. He said he wanted to get me a shirt that said, sorry for what I said before I yoga, because it's like,
I love it.
That's
like, You
True.
need to leave and go do yoga.
Yeah,
Like he's like,
that's good.
leave, get out of the house, come back a better human. You suck right now. Bye.
Now,
I'm
Paul,
like,
do you also do yoga?
I used to do it for a little while, but I've since stopped, and I keep kicking myself. I do have to get back into it, but I just don't.
my back hurts. My back hurts. Oh my God. My back, my neck, my back. I'm like, it's interesting. I know someone who could help me with these problems. I can't.
That sounds a little
Yeah.
bit like someone else we know.
You also think important too is like finding your thing, like finding what, like people say to me, like talk about working out or moving. It's like, there's not one cookie cutter thing. It's like, what's the thing that's going to make you get your ass off the couch? What's the thing that sparks you to want to go? And I think there's so many options out there. It's like, not everybody has to do yoga.
Well,
Right? I want you to, but I get that, like, you have to find the thing that motivates you.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
there's so many choices out there. There's so many.
There are a
choices.
lot of choices, and the public gets overwhelmed. And
Right.
so what you're saying is, and for most people, it's not about what I want to do. It's making the decision to actually pick
Right.
something and go with it to see, because we deal with it a lot when we hear, I don't know if I should do this or what's the right thing to do. It's like there's no wrong. You just have to pick something and start. And you want to make sure that it aligns with the goals that you have and what you're willing to do. Because if it doesn't align where you want to go and you're not willing to do it, it's pointless. It's pointless on what the program is, what it costs, all that type of stuff.
I think it has to be, we say, like a habit or like a lifestyle too, because what happens is if you don't invest in it long enough, you don't realize, like if I don't do yoga for a couple of days, I'm like, whoa, like I can feel the difference. That's part of like creating a habit and getting there and see how it makes you feel. If you sit on the couch all the time, like you're going to get used to that feeling. But once you start moving and once you start feeling like how it feels in your life, you're kind of like, I need that. Like I say, if I don't do yoga or move, I feel like someone who's mentally ill who didn't take their medicine, because I feel it. I get edgy, I get snappy, and I don't like who I am sometimes when I don't move. But I also know that moving is an option, so I choose to go. So
yeah,
I agree.
And that's what it's. The creation of the habits are so important. So, before you ask the question, Aubrey, did you do yoga today? Because I do not want to get my ass snapped out here.
I did. I taught this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, I taught this morning. I mean, this is what I look like after hot yoga.
I love it. Well, I took a hot yoga class with Aubrey and it was phenomenal. And I came home and I told him, so I am also not the person that just will run out and do yoga class. To me, it's slow. I probably need, I assume it's slow. And I think that's the other thing.
No, go ahead. Say what you're going to say. Say what you were going to say.
What? I don't want to slow down.
I probably
you
should. Don't probably need it. You definitely need it.
But what I really liked about Aubrey's class was, number one, first thing I said to him was, the music was phenomenal.
Oh my God.
Like that's what I want to listen to when I'm doing something for myself. Like I think there are times to listen to the slower and really focusing on, the breathing and centering and relaxing. But when you're not looking for that, yoga is still an option. Like to me, I think that people have this idea of what yoga is. And it doesn't have to be that. Like that music and that, I think we were listening to like Lauryn Hill. I don't even remember any of those songs that were in there, but it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed it.
In the yoga world, is music or not music? And I get it. When I was trained originally, we didn't listen to music. It was like a big no-no. And I get it, because they say it can be triggering for it can like mask, it can be triggering. But for me, I find like music so meditative, like to my soul.
I loved it.
So like when I'm doing it, I'm usually, I pick really specific playlists. I make almost a new playlist for every class I teach.
So that's great. That's awesome that you personalize it that way. I don't think people realize the work that goes into that. And yeah, maybe they're saying, oh yeah, well you just got to put a bunch of songs together. No, there is a method to the madness in terms of just by making sure that the length is there, the tone is there, based on the moves that you're going to be doing.
Right, for sure.
And then of course your energy as a teacher at that point will reflect the different highs and lows of that. It's such a unique mindset because it just pivots just a little bit from the normal, like you said.
People assume. It's funny. I went in thinking I was doing one thing and left thinking like that was not what I thought I was going to do. Yeah. Like that's not what I had assumed this was going to be, and it was fantastic. And I loved it.
And like why people, it is a little different. Is like you're gonna come in, you're gonna move, we're gonna laugh. Like we're gonna laugh. I'm definitely gonna swear. more times than I probably should.
I think you warned us before you started too.
Yes, I've been having like younger kids. So I've been like having to like, and that's been harder for me to. But like my friend one time explained my class, and I've actually thought about naming the class that. She said you're very, what'd she say, profound and profane.
I love it.
That's a good one.
But you know what? Like, yeah, it's like whatever comes off the top of my head. But yeah, I try to have the music. I try to keep it real, and like grounded. Like I never thought I'd be a yoga teacher because when I'd go to classes, it would always be the very traditional, like, like bow down like a swan. I'm like, I'm never gonna say bow down like a swan, like ever. Like I'm more like, your back cracked to the back of the room, your head forward, stuff like that. Like I just can't. That's not the languaging I use. So I do pull like a pretty diverse crowd. I try to tell people that, like, I have like one guy who's like an ex-NFL player. He comes with his wife. Like we get a lot of guys who come because it's like, it's not froofy, man. Like we're not froofy in here.
Yeah, it's not. And that's the froofy stuff is not for everybody. And probably what you're doing is not for everybody either. But there is something out there for everybody, right? So I think that it's like,
we always get a kick out of, when people say, well, I've tried everything and nothing works for me. Well, and a lot of times the individual's just not giving enough time to the practice,
or they're assuming things like yoga is this. That's not what yoga is, and they're just
negative.
They don't bother.
I can't touch my toes. I go, so you don't do yoga? That's like saying I don't lift weights because I'm weak.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you need to be doing it.
Exactly.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
now, do you do other? Is it just the heated vinyasa, or there's other?
We have some yin. I'm trying to get like a little more diversity, but to be quite honest, as a business, that's the pull. The people want the heated vinyasa. I do have yin. We've done hatha. We do little things. We'll do some we're booty yoga. That's when the one you like shake your butt and stuff. That actually
let me understand this. Booty yoga, you shake your butt and stuff.
Like tribal dancing with yoga. Yeah, you'll do a little like tribal dancing and stuff. That one's fun. But yeah, I try to keep a little variety in there,
Yeah.
But mainly it's a heated vinyasa. We have bars in there, so there's some bar classes, but
No, everyone, they do not have a bar in there. They have
it's
bar.
My don't tell anyone, but my backup plan, if this fails, is to turn it into Bottega Nights and make it a club. So
I love it.
So
I love it. That's what a great name.
Bottega Nights. We gonna get that party, Bottega Nights. I like it.
Bottega Nights backup plan.
Yeah, I like it.
Let me get him to sign off on it now.
This is her telling you.
How hot does vinyasa get? That's the biggest question for those of you.
So my class, traditionally, it's 95 degrees.
90.
People do like 55% humidity.
Yeah, it was.
I know, and
it was a weird hot. It wasn't like I was like so hot that I can't do this anymore. It was. The only annoying thing for me was I was slipping here. I need to get a better mat or something. I was slipping all over the place on my own sweat, and I don't sweat that often. So
no, you don't.
I'm just not a sweater in general. I was sweating there.
Your body gets used to like the sweat.
Yeah.
So we have infrared heat, so that's different too.
Yeah.
So a lot of places have like a lot of room heat, and then they put a steamer in there, so it's more humid. I preferably don't love all the humidity. It makes me feel like I'm struggling to breathe.
I agree.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I think it's a fake sensation of like sweating. You're like, I'm sweating. It's like you're not. It's like the steam.
No.
So we have infrared heat, which is supposed to be really great for your skin and your circulation. And what else? He's the infrared guy. It's added benefits. I feel like it feels like more like the sun from the beach.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Heat. It's like
it wasn't stifling. Like it's funny. I've gotten a facial a couple times in my life, and not often. I don't really love them. And the main reason is I can't stand when they put that steam in my face. Like I feel like I can't breathe. So I always think I don't really like being hot. But when I went and did this, that's not how I felt. It was a different type of heat. But it was good. It was extremely enjoyable.
And I think based on what's that?
So it's a lot lighter than the steam heat. Like you can breathe, you can move, like you feel almost like the rays of the sun are coming down on you, as opposed to that thick, dense kind of like
right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I agree. It was not oppressive, and it was.
So why stop at 95 degrees? Where's the temperature cutoff, and what's the idea?
We'll go to like 105 or 110. I don't really know the science behind what the heat is.
Well,
Punching.
I'm sure in terms of just being able to move through a better range of motion when your body's
I
that.
mean, I know it's flexibility, but why 95? I don't know. Maybe that's like
Yeah. No, I was just curious.
maybe it's like I'm gonna guess that maybe it's like it's hot enough where it's not like detrimental health wise,
Right.
but
And not
warm
very,
enough where you can like get your muscles to like
yeah.
to move and
Yeah.
stretch. And
Maybe it's like one of those price situations where it's not $1, it's 99 cents. It's not 100 degrees, it's 95 degrees. Oh, I can do that. I can do that. But if it was 99 or 100, there's no way. There's no way. So maybe that's the idea behind it. Now let me ask you this, for you guys who've done it so many times over and over and over again, do you still feel like, do you ever feel like, oh wow, this is hot? Or is it just like, oh, here we go again, you know, just another day, like that type of thing?
it can be hot sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hot. Like there's times if I'm taking, when I'm teaching, it's harder, but I'll be in child's pose a lot. I don't know if that's the heat. That might just be where my body's at and how it can handle it.
For the day.
If I'm feeling a little dizzy or I haven't hydrated or like various things, it can be hot for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So there's
Well,
times where
Ryan's never done a heated yoga class, so
I'm
we're
gonna
gonna
do
come together. We next year, starting in the fall, we will have our children in school full time, all three of them, finally. So we have more time to like go do things together, which will be awesome, because I really want to go with him. I think it'd be fun to do it together. And he is a person that sweats a lot, so I'm curious to see how he handles the heat.
I have to see it.
Yeah. Put me in the back, man.
Yeah.
Put me in one of the kiddie plastic pools. I'll be good to go.
Just in there, just keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hot. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if if that's your thing. But what happens is so I had a friend who she hated the heat. She was like, we'd go to the beach. She'd have like the umbrella. Like, nah. I'd be like, why are you even here? But anyways, another story. And she came to a couple of heated yoga classes with me, and she'd have to leave. And this before I owned a studio, but we just go together. She'd go out in the hallway, and then she'd come back. And after a while, she acclimated, and she actually ended up teaching heated yoga.
Oh wow!
So you can create, an ability to like, deal with the heat. And I think remember in your head, what's the purpose? You know what I mean? The purpose is to create that lengthening in your muscles and the softness and things like that. So, it's not just a torture.
That's a great story. I think that just goes along the lines of, again, and, we're both in the fields of, health, creation of habits, change lifestyle, that type of thing. And it just comes down to going with something, seeing if it sticks, seeing if you enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, you do it again. If you continue to enjoy it, you do it again and again and again. And lo and behold, then you start working it into your lifestyle, as opposed to, hey, I have to do this. It's a must.
Well, then you feel different if you don't, like you were saying, like if I get snappy if I don't, do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just goes, whatever, your struggle is out there, there's something out there for everybody. You just have to be willing to either try it or, of course, go in a direction what you feel associates or relates best to you.
Yeah. And I think people just being open enough to try things, like I said, when you hear yoga, like I went in not expecting what I got. And what I got, I liked better than what I expected that I thought I would. So I think it's especially with yoga, it's tough to market it that way, because I think people hear yoga and think one thing. So I think it's
that was actually going to be a question. I'm glad that you brought that up, and because we talk about marketing all the time and marketing our business to certain clientele type and whatnot. And because there's so much out there when it comes to yoga, that's got to be a challenge in terms of just being able to say, here's why we're different. Now, we talked a lot about the things that make you different, but in terms of somebody just driving by and saying, I guess I'm looking for a yoga studio. Like, where do I go? Like, how do I go about it? Like, that's got to be such a challenge in terms of just being able to differentiate between, because of that.
I mean, even in our town alone, there's quite a few yoga places, to choose from. So
it was kind of a couple steps in that process. One, I knew I wanted to be kind of more like an urban studio, like playing the hip hop and the rap and like the music and like bringing that kind of demographic in. So I know there's several yoga studios, but that was what I wanted to bring, like more of like just like and that came partially from also growing up in South Kingstown. So I grew up here. I moved away. Like I couldn't wait to get out of here. I was like, peace out, everybody. I'm done. If I never see this place again, fabulous. I didn't love growing up here. So then we get married, and he comes home one day and he's like, I got good news and bad news. And I was like, what is the good news? He's like, I got a promotion. And he's like, what's the bad news? Like, it's in Rhode Island. I was like, oh Lord.
no.
Really going back.
So we came back. And I had this like I wouldn't really come back, like in my soul. I was like, I was here, but I wasn't here. I was here, but I wasn't here. And then as the kids were getting older and they were going to school, I'm like, you know what, Aubrey, you're going to be here. And growing up as someone, you know, biracial in this town, it wasn't amazing. I'm not going to lie. We don't have a lot of diversity. There's a lot of old school mindsets in this town, not a lot of, you know, upward mobility. Even I've worked in the place I've worked in, same names coming through. So I had a moment also going, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here.
Yep.
And if I'm going to be here, I'm going to do what I love. I'm going to set something up and I'm going to show these young people of color that like there's more out there for them here. You know what I mean? We don't have a lot of Black business owners here or like people, you know, in high roles, you know, people of color in high roles in Wakefield. And I was like, I want to be one of those people. I want to be like a woman who these young little brown girls look up to and are like, hey, look at what she's doing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that is one of the pieces and vibes I wanted to bring to my studio. That is one of them. And just keeping and being like, yo, this is for everybody. This isn't your standard, what everyone pictures yoga is. It's like I'm bringing something a little different. So I feel like there was a piece I wanted to compete with all the people around me. And then I literally woke up one day and I was like, no, like I'm going to bring what I love and what I have to offer. And what I wanted to offer was community, connection, like mental health, like find your people. That's what I always think of, like find your people. And I feel like a failure sometimes, you know, when you have a business and I'd be like, some days I'd be like, girl, you got this. And sometimes I wake up 4 o'clock in the morning and go, who do you think you are? And why are you doing this? Right?
Oh, that imposter syndrome. That is.
Couple morning, like, just do you, girl. Bring what you have to offer. It's going to attract those people. And if it doesn't, I don't know. So I've that's my new thing is like stepping away and not necessarily feeling like I'm competing. He's the business guy. He's like, like, stop. No, I'm doing my thing.
Right.
Yep. Let him handle that.
I'm like, no, I'm bringing me and what I want to create and hoping it flourishes and trusting the universe. And that's what I'm doing. And he loves trusting the universe. No, he does not.
It's my favorite thing.
He's like, trust the numbers.
World.
Wow, we are literally like
you are Paul
and
you know
kin, and then that's exactly
the exact same way, Aubrey, in terms of just being like, you know, live and let me be. Like I'm gonna be who I am. I'm not gonna have any sort of
in the meantime, I'm in the corner like
yes. Well, my brother's like him. So I was on the phone with him. I'm like, well, he does, you know, he'll like do the paychecks. He'll do this. He goes, oh, so he does all the important stuff. I'm like, you think this is going up and being amazing? But like, there is also the like
money maker.
Well,
okay?
it's funny. We had a conversation with my son last night, and I forget even why it came up or what he wanted. He's like, well, you know, Dad makes all the money, and I look at him and I go, oh, I just think so.
I just bit my tongue and I said, you better let his ass have it, because
he sees Dad go to work every day. And so I'm trying to explain to my son, like, okay, well, if I wasn't here with you, he's only 9. If I wasn't here with you, and he also doesn't see the stuff I do for the business, but I also have to be home with you. So Daddy can go do those things. And, you know, so trying to explain to them that it's not just all about that piece of it.
I do think you guys are the unsung heroes. I'll deny it later, but they are like my staff called me the sexy secretary, because we're all about, you know, sexism up in our place. But
I love it.
The sexy secretary for real. But I'm like, you know, but everybody knows, like he's the one that I go to where it's like, I don't know, like we got to change this on here, we got to do that. So he is the unsung hero.
Yeah, I know I told you in our text, she's, you know, I'm the Pinocchio, she's my Geppetto, that type of thing, where like she's always controlling it. And you know, here's the great part about, you know, what I value so much about our relationship is that I know that if I am in my own head, because again, with our type of personalities, Aubrey, we can get so high and also get so low and then try and get it back to the center. But we're best when we're feeling good about who we are, right? The thing I've learned, and you guys can talk about this too, just to be able to have you to just bounce my ideas off of, because I think, you know, when you get this way and you're feeling good, you're feeling confident about what you're doing, and then for something challenges you randomly on a Tuesday at 2 p.m., like, right? And you're questioning yourself, and to be able to go back and be able to say, hey, am I off on this? Or what do you think of this? and you can always lay it to me straight. You know what I mean? You can always, be an objective view for my, craziness about, the way that I am, and kind of pull back and be like, well, no, I think this is this, or yes, you know what, I think you're out of line, or I think you're crazy, or I think, you need to think a little differently, or for the most part, you need to be more realistic, Ryan. Okay. Cause that's usually where I'm at.
I'm better at that. I used to call him the dream crusher. Because like no matter what, he's like, that's stupid. That's not gonna work. I did the numbers. I'm like, whoa, okay. Like I'm down to talk about this, but like can we be open to like the
Yeah,
possibilities?
it's like exactly the same. And
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of points out too, there are challenges to running a business with your spouse too.
Yeah.
It's not always easy
No,
either.
no.
There are some great
no.
benefits, but there are also, I mean, work never leaves. We are constantly, we are our business. So it
Yeah.
is everything we do. So, we're supporting a family with our business, and this is
Right.
what we do. So it has its challenges.
It
It's a
certainly,
lot.
it certainly intertwines, and it's certainly, again, I don't think I would ever change anything, just, based on everything we've gone through, ups and downs, and, we've learned so much. But it's definitely, in my opinion, the way to go, as opposed to, a regular career in terms of a 9 to 5 or anything along those
Yeah.
lines.
And
Those things
Paul,
don't happen anymore.
is this what you guys do now? Or
No,
Paul,
I have
still
a full-time job that I do on this. Well,
Yeah,
Okay,
people are like,
there you
oh,
go.
he's not doing this, building the studio. What's he gonna do? I'm like, his job?
So that's double
Yeah,
take.
so
Yeah.
it's a
That
lot.
gets in the way of my business.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but don't you feel like it reflects in your parenting too?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
stuff like that, those personality traits, like
Yep,
how they reflect in,
absolutely.
I'm
Yep.
always like about their soul and their social well-being. And he's like the grades and excelling in the sport. Like he's like on them. And I'm like, I'm the one
I
like,
think that's funny because I'm kind of a mix of both.
Yeah, I think you're a
and-
mix, but you're more he'll have the sit down, like very deep, solely conversations with them, and
they'll be hearing me
listening
say,
to the
like,
self-help things. and-
think about yourself, and then they'll hear me say blah 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 blah.
I
But
They don't know what I'm
I
saying.
agree. I agree.
I'm not all soft. Like I remember one day
Oh, no,
my
I'm
son
not
was a
soft at all.
wrestler and we were going up to like New Hampshire and he was gonna wrestle this kid. My son was small, but like, really wiry and like really good at wrestling. And this kid was a little. And I just remember doing dishes, like being a mom, and he was behind me. He's like, if I have to wrestle, I think his name was Noah, I'm gonna forfeit. And I turned around, I was like, let me tell you something, kid. And he's like, we drive to New Hampshire and you forfeit, I swear to God, we'll never bring you to another. I was like, Mom, and don't quit. And I was like, okay. And I went to doing the dishes. I was like, oh my God, my kids are screwed. Like they get it from both.
I know.
That lives inside of me too.
Oh,
But
yeah.
for the most part, overall, I think but I have that edge too.
We're certainly there, and more often than not, I'm more stern, I think, and then I gotta pull back, and I always go put my head on the pillow at night, and I'm like, geez, I regret doing that, but I think it's important, especially when they're young, to be able to install these thoughts and these processes and these habits, and really just you say it all the time, as there's benefits to owning your own business and working on that, but parenting's a whole nother ball game, right? I mean, you're just constantly being thrown for a loop. And really, I think you put it perfectly when you always say, our job as parents is to raise decent members of society. And that's what we're trying to do here. So, we have to have these conversations, or if, something's happening and we don't want it to, compound into bigger things later on, nipping that now in that situation where it may not seem that crazy or that out of line, but hey, it can lead to A, B, or C. So
Yeah.
I think there's that aspect of being stern, which, I think probably I got to back off on certain aspects, but at the same time, it's important to me to make sure that we're, raising, the best individuals that we can. Because once they get to a certain point, they're not going to listen to you anyways. Half the time they don't listen to me as it is. So, and we did this. I'm going to try to explain. We already lived through this shit. The same thing I told my parents.
Still gotta do the dumb crap. I'm sorry. We have teenagers like it. It's like no matter what you say, it's like they gotta do the dumb crap, and you just.
And that's how they learn, right? I mean, it's how they learn.
Or like, let's see how this turns out, and it's like a mess because you know it. But other thing, parenting, I think, is really important, and it's definitely coming more to fruition as our kids get older. Is you have to still be yourself and have your own time.
Yeah.
You can't morph your life with your kids so much that you intertwine that. Like and thinking that they're like an extension of you. They're not.
Right.
They're not an extension of you. Like they are their own little humans. And I think that's so important. That's what yoga was so important to me.
That's a great
because
point.
I remember feeling guilty when I'd leave the house sometimes because, this is back when classes were 90 minutes, you know, and I'd be going driving and there and parking and I'd be gone for a while. And I remember feeling guilty, but then being like, wait, I'm just so much more of an effective wife and mother when I take that time, and like taking that time away just really adds more time on the back end. And that was huge for me, because it was hard. It was hard to walk away. It was hard to take that time. But at the same time, it's like, if you're staying face to face and stressed out and you're not moving and you're not doing the things you do, take your time for yourself, you're just going to be edgy all the time. So like,
absolutely.
leaving and taking time for yourself or doing whatever it is a gift to your family.
I agree 100%.
It's so true. It's something that we coach our clients on all the time, and making that time for themselves, and how important that is, even if that means stepping away.
A lot of people think that's selfish, but you will become a better mother, a better spouse, a better friend, a better daughter, but by taking care of yourself first. I mean, you have to.
Basically, you know, they talk about the well of the village, like, you know, like you're the well of the village and you don't replenish, the village is just going to like, you know, die from, you know, dry out. And it's like, so I'm like, you got to fill your cup, you got to fill your soul, or else you're not. And you know that feeling when you got nothing left.
Oh yeah.
You have nothing left. Like you are not slaying life when you got nothing left. You are like barely making it. You are snapping. You are mean. You are not a good human usually. And I know that feeling. And that's when I'm like, it's time to like, it's time to go like replenish.
You got a camera in our house or something like that?
Know,
How do you
exactly
know
how we feel.
What the hell is going on here? We've kept you guys for much longer than I'm sure you wanted to be here, but I want to thank you. We before we finish up, we always like to do a little mad minute here, a little kind of 1 minute, throw at you a couple different questions, answer yes or no, really quick things, and you can do the same for us if you want. In terms of what we're going to do. So I'm going to set the clock. Danielle, you want to start off with the questions?
Sure.
All right. So, and we'll kind of go from there. So just answer as quickly as you can. Once the minute's up, we're done. If you want to fire back at us, you can. If you don't, that's cool too.
They're just fun questions.
They're just fun little questions, just so that, you know, people can realize that you're a human being too, and not, you know, always just hanging out in 95-degree weather, getting sweaty and hot, ready to bite someone's head off. All right, minute on the clock. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, what show are you binging right now?
Oh,
together. Do you guys watch any shows together?
Loudermilk.
Oh, you just told me.
I just brought it up last night. I said I keep hearing about this Loudermilk show.
Oh, don't miss it. It's good.
Okay.
Dark, funny humor.
All right.
Favorite yoga pose? Go.
Child's pose.
That's what I would say.
You can't pick that, Paul.
Planking.
It's probably tree pose. No, it's tree pose.
No, tree pose. That's what they say.
Favorite ice cream. Favorite ice cream.
Favorite ice cream.
Favorite ice cream.
Ooh, it's got to be chocolate chip cookie dough. Yeah,
coffee.
Definitely chocolate chip cookie dough.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, right. Chocolate chip. I don't.
That's a hard decision,
That's
apparently.
a damn hard decision. Yeah, it's got to be something with cookie, okay? Because I love myself some cookies. Anything else you want to ask them?
No, I can't think of that. That was
favorite.
One artist if you were trapped in an island, you can only listen to one artist. Who would it be?
Oh, good God, that's impossible.
We met through Dave Matthews Band, so
we don't even listen to them all that much anymore. But that's kind of what brought us together.
Through them. We used to go to concerts together all the time. And
what about you guys? What would the answer to that question be for you?
He's a country. He's a little
country.
Oh, okay, it's over. All right.
Yeah, no.
With that sweater, Paul, that's country.
Wait, and do you listen to country music at all, Aubrey?
Absolutely not. He told me
that is so funny to me, because I wouldn't assume that based on the music I heard you play in your yoga class. I can't imagine that you're a country.
Rap, Nas, Biggie,
Jay-Z. Love it.
Love that 90s hip hop. I grew up on 90s hip hop. You didn't as much.
I know a class you might enjoy then.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well,
he'll be there.
You better have a microphone, because I'll probably end up singing and rapping with.
It's like it's partially karaoke.
Women fight for my delight, and I'm the grand master with 3 MCs. Gonna shock the house for the young ladies.
Right. See, we would encourage that in class.
Yeah. Yes, I would.
You would love it. He'll be there. You're you say that now until you're trying to shut him up. That's great. Yeah, country is the only genre of music that we do not listen to. But Paul, I give you lots of. Many people do.
Yeah,
and that's like one of the most listened to.
I've come around on it. Not to say that I don't listen to it, but I respect it. So we'll have a lot of clients who say, "Hey, can you play this, and that?" And I'll be like, and I'll joke around with them. I'll say, I'm I'm sacrificing my ears for the next X amount of minutes to listen to this song, but I'll play it. Before I would be like, no, there's no way. But I tried to sit down
and play the new variation of Fast Car in class, and I was like,
Which
And I
won
did-
like a ridiculous amount of awards, apparently.
I tried so hard because my son was in class and he listens to country, and I was like, that is the last time. that
Even I don't
happens.
like that version of it.
Really? Well, I mean, Tracy Chapman's
Can you
amazing.
sing it? Can you sing it for us?
That was my
The country
favorite
music
song.
part?
I am not singing. I've not heard who sings it, Aldine or something. I don't even know who sings it, but yeah, I don't even
Paul,
know.
who sings it?
He doesn't even like it, so he probably doesn't know either. No one can beat Tracy Chapman's version of
Billy
that.
Gilman.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Luke Combs.
Yeah.
Oh, Luke Holmes. Yes, that's right. Yep, got it. All right,
You know,
guys.
not Tracy Chapman. That's who sings it. Not Tracy
Not
Chapman. That's
Tracy
all.
Chapman. Yeah.
Not Tracy Chapman. is
So
his
she
name.
won best. She won for that song too. When he brought it back, she ended up winning like a Grammy for it
Really?
because she wrote the song. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Classic.
go her. But we will be in for some yoga. I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring
All
him
right.
with me. So
Aubrey, people want to learn more about Bottega Yoga. Where do they go?
BottegaYoga.com. That's pretty much it. Stop in, see us, feel the energy. That's always the best way because that's how you get the real feel. But yeah, go online. Can lead you to the schedule. People can always feel free to, message us and ask us questions about the classes. We're on Mind Body,
Facebook, Instagram.
Got it
awesome.
all.
We'll put your link in our
Yeah, we'll definitely
thing
do
too.
that for you guys too as well. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a little collabo,
Yeah,
live
absolutely.
and weight training, yoga thing.
I love
That'd
it.
be awesome.
I love it. So we'll be in touch for sure. Thank you so much, guys. You guys,
This was
hope
fun.
you guys have a great
No
rest of your day.
problem. Really great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
If you
Thank
guys have any, if you guys ever need to, collaborate your brains in terms of, hey, husband and wife ideas or complaints, feel free to, we'll put a group text together. We'll go from there. All right, guys.
Have a good
Thank you
Tuesday,
so much.
guys.
Enjoy. Have a great
All right,
day. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.